community meeting for March 23rd, 2020. It's been a bit of a week. So I'm going to be relying on some other folks to fill in some of the gaps. Last week, I know a lot of people, including myself, felt pretty scattered about kind of the rapidly evolving situation with COVID-19. My region went into shelter in place starting last Tuesday. We had been advised to kind of self-isolate for the week before that. So we're kind of on going into week 3, I think, of kind of trying to not touch anyone or breathe on anyone. So how is everyone else doing with COVID-19?
I'm good. I'm in quarantine right now because I was out of the country, and there's a mandatory 2 weeks period for Canadians that come back to their own country. And so far so good. My parents are still healthy, and me and my girlfriend too.
Okay, that's good. Jorge and Shane?
Well, they finally locked down all the public stuff down here, so no more going out and partying. We've been pretty much isolating for a couple of weeks already, and things are good here.
Here they've shut down most things. They are strongly recommending people not to go outside, but people still do that. Not a lot, but there are still people outside. So far it's been pretty mild, the impact here. So we'll have to see how it evolves and see if more extreme measures are needed.
Yeah. And Andreas, how is it in Berlin?
It's pretty unusual. It's pretty quiet outside. People stay inside now, also because it got colder again. And fun fact, our Chancellor Merkel got tested this week, or actually today, because she got an unrelated vaccine shot last week, and the doctor who gave her the shot was tested positive. So there are no concerns that she's infected as well, but the first test has been negative. There will be further tests though. Okay. So we'll see.
Okay. Yikes. All right. Well, I hope everyone continues hand washing and self-isolating. And if you start to feel sick, call your healthcare provider or your local health authority for next steps about what to do. Don't just roll into a doctor's office, just in case you have it and are asymptomatic. This has kind of changed. So obviously, this has kind of changed some things that are coming up, and surprisingly, it hasn't changed some other things. So I thought we could take a couple minutes to just kind of review how COVID-19 has impacted or not Mozilla. Upcoming Firefox releases. So I bring this up because Chrome decided to push pause on releasing new versions of Chrome to prevent breakages. The recommendation that I saw from the release management team late last week said that they were not recommending holding back our next version, which is Firefox 75, which I think is supposed to go out sometime in early April. So I haven't seen any response to that, but it looks like Firefox is going to continue to update. Is that right? Has everybody else heard the same thing? Okay. Hopefully we won't see a lot of breaking changes with that. On the other hand, the Toronto All Hands that was scheduled for this June has been canceled. So we will not be traveling to meet together en masse in Toronto in June of this year. Right now, the events management team is working on making some sort of virtual all hands. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do have some sort of meetup virtually in a couple of months. It's just not going to be in person. So with the Toronto All Hands being canceled, I think that goes ahead and cancels all of our other in-person events that had been planned for the rest of this year, including MozFest. MozFest has been scheduled for March 2021 in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. That had been scheduled for 2021 before the COVID-19 incident had really kind of shut down the travel industry, mostly because they were trying to book some space and they weren't sure if it was going to be available this year. So anyway, it is officially not going to happen until March of next year. So just pencil that in on your calendars. We still don't have exact dates, but those will be out later. So expect a lot more virtual meetings coming up in the future from us. Hey, Shubham. And yeah, we'll just continue working on building relationships remotely and collaborating remotely. One of the other things that we've noticed is because of the outbreak, people are really desperate for technology to help them connect and hang out with other people, kind of like in social settings. So there's this extension called Netflix Party that lets you watch the same Netflix program with somebody else, I think kind of like in a one-to-one thing, instead of having to video call someone and then time your watches like James Bond and then press play, which is what me and my friends have been doing. So we've reached out to them to ask if they'd be interested in porting to Firefox. They are interested, but they've got a large server load, so it might take a little bit of time. But just wanted to ask other folks if there were any other extensions that could be helpful in connecting people that might make sense to add to our recommended extensions program. So we're definitely interested in kind of like seeing what those extensions are, just so that we can kind of help users find them and help users stay connected to their loved ones during this period of social isolation. So if you have any ideas, please send them to our recommended list. There's instructions for how to do that on Extension Workshop. Let me just pull open the list really quickly, and I will share that. Or you could go ahead and send them to me or Scott, and we can kind of forward them on to the rest of the list for further evaluation. But it's definitely something that our marketing team is interested in. So just putting a little bug in your ear. Also, if you want to develop your own awesome extension that helps people hang out, let us know. We'd love to see you build it and see how awesome it is. Give it a run. Any questions about any of that stuff? Okay, awesome. Oh, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about is that we have, so applications for Outreachy and Google Summer of Code are open right now. They're gonna close, I think at the end of the first week of April. So we're still expecting another 2 weeks of applicants to either write their proposals if they're applying for Google Summer of Code, or make their contributions to the code base if they're applying for Outreachy. So we're seeing an uptick in contributions on code contributions on our repositories. So I would just ask that everybody please be patient with review during this time. With the increased load, like sometimes it can take a little while to get there. So we've updated the Outreachy website with a few more explicit instructions on how contributors can make how they can make their first contributions to the community, and kind of like what we're looking for from each of the projects. And then Google Summer of Code, that's been pretty well outlined. So if there's any questions, I definitely encourage people to ask in one of our public channels on Matrix. So either in the AMO channel or in the add-ons room. Just because more eyes are on questions in those spaces, and you'll probably be able to get a response faster than if you asked on one-on-one. Some of the stuff that we're still working through is kind of how you make your good second contribution. So yeah, we would just ask for a little bit of patience. But it looks like we've settled on a direction moving forward with the Migrate Extension Workshop problem, project. We're now looking at migrating the site to 11D, which is similar to Jekyll. So hopefully that'll minimize some breaking changes on that and be a little bit easier. So if you want to, in your application, talk a little bit about any experience that you have with 11D, that would probably be pretty helpful for your application. Any questions about GSOC or Outreachy? Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would just really like to thank everybody who's kind of jumped in and been patient and has either helped review some of the contributions or who has made the contribution itself. It's always really exciting to see pull requests where people have said things like, oh, this is my very first pull request to open source, and to be able to merge that in. It's really exciting. And it's tough even getting to the state where you're ready to submit a PR, even if it's like updating the link, even if it feels easy. So I definitely applaud everybody who's kind of dived in and made an attempt to do this. It's really awesome to see that. So that was everything that was on my brain that I could remember. So I thought I would take this moment to turn it over to Andreas, Shane, and Jorge, in case there was anything that happened kind of in the last week and a half that you'd like to add. I know for me, last week in particular was tough. I didn't feel like I was able to focus a lot on work. So it's also okay. Things kind of slowed down and got a little weird here. So it's also okay if there aren't any updates to report.
It was a terribly distracting week. I can't think of anything last week that is important to call out.
Yeah, we just tried to make a little progress in planning and some other stuff that's coming down the line, but yeah, nothing terribly exciting.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I would say if you're feeling like you are a little isolated or you're really hungry for human connection, definitely come talk with us on Matrix, join the conversation in our public channels, build something cool, share it, talk about it, talk on the forums. If we have any more open calls, we'll definitely publicize them on the Add-ons forum. So come hang out with us for a little bit. It's just really important to try to continue to remain socially connected while practicing social distancing. So thanks everybody for hanging in there. If there's no other questions or comments or dog photos, I think we can go ahead and wrap this meeting up. All right, take care everybody. Wash your hands, be safe. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.